What happens when a game does everything right, but still feels empty? Star Wars Outlaws is one of the most visually polished games I've played, and yet it never quite pulled me in, because technically, this game checks all the boxes. The lighting, the color theory, the character design, it's all there. But somewhere along the way, it starts to feel less like a world and more like a checklist. Welcome back to the Asari Gamer, where we explore the art of video games one game at a time. As always, we'll look at this game through the lens of storytelling, world building, visual design, audio and atmosphere, and personal enjoyment. At first glance, Star Wars Outlaws feels like it should be driven by tension, crime syndicates, shifting alliances, and a protagonist caught between powerful factions. But the story plays things surprisingly safe. Kay moves through a world of criminals and opportunists, but very few of those relationships carry real risk. Even rival syndicates, groups that profit under Imperial control, are quick to set aside their interests and step in when she needs the help. And that's where the narrative starts to lose its edge, because these aren't allies. These are organizations built on self-preservation and profit. Their loyalty should be conditional, even fragile. Instead, the story treats them as dependable support systems. The same issue shows up in Kay's connection to the rebellion. At one point, she's abandoned and left to face torture and death alone. And yet, the story never fully reconciles that betrayal. There's no lasting consequence, no shift in trust, just a return to core operation. So while the plot moves forward cleanly, it rarely challenges its own premise. This is a story about the underworld, but it doesn't behave like one. And because of that, the tension that should define it never quite takes hold. Star Wars as a universe already has one of the strongest foundations in fiction. You don't have to build it from scratch, you just have to make it feel lived in. And on a surface level, Star Wars Outlaws gets a lot of that right. The environments are detailed, the textures are worn, and the lighting is cinematic. It looks like a world that's been used, not just placed. But world building isn't just about how something looks. It's about how it feels to be there. Because while each piece of the world is well designed, they don't always come together to create a consistent emotional experience. It's like the game understands all the rules. You have the gritty textures, the lighting, the color contrast, but it doesn't always connect those choices to a specific feeling. The opening sequence is a perfect example of what this game can do. The distressed neon, the teal and orange contrast, the sound design, it all works together to create a very specific mood. But that level of intention doesn't carry consistently throughout the rest of the experience. So instead of feeling like you're living in a world, it can start to feel like you're moving through a series of well-designed spaces. And that's the difference between a world that looks right and a world that feels real. The visual design is technically correct. However, Nyx is one of the few elements that feels intentionally designed to connect. And what makes Nyx work so well isn't random. There's a very specific visual language behind why we find something cute. First, the big eyes. Large eyes create instant emotional access. They make a character feel expressive, even when they're not speaking. It's the same principle you see in characters like Toothless. Those oversized eyes do a lot of the emotional storytelling for you. Secondly, are the rounded shapes. Soft curves signal safety. There are no sharp edges, nothing visually threatening. Your brain reads that instantly as something you can trust. And third, an exaggerated, expressive mouth. That wide range of expression lets Nyx act without needing dialogue. You understand what he's feeling almost immediately. And that's what makes this so effective, because Nyx isn't just cute for the sake of it. He's designed to make you care. It's what makes him stand out, because the rest of the game doesn't always reach the same level of emotional intention. When it comes to audio and atmosphere, Star Wars Outlaws does exactly what you'd expect, and it does it well. The sound design is very polished. Blaster fire has that familiar punch. TIE fighters cut through the air exactly the way they should, and the ambient audio from wind to distant machinery helps ground each environment. But a lot of what makes this work isn't new. It's built on decades of established Star Wars sound design. These are sounds we already recognize and sounds that already carry meaning. Because of that, the atmosphere feels instantly authentic. You don't have to learn this world, because you already understand it the moment you hear it. But like much of the game, it leans more on what's already been proven rather than creating something distinctly its own. So while the audio and atmosphere are undeniably strong, they reinforce the world we know more than they define a new experience within it. For me, this game lands squarely in the middle. It's not a bad game. There's clear skill behind it, strong environmental design, solid mechanics, moments where everything briefly clicks, but it never fully comes together. And I think that comes down to something harder to define, but easy to feel, and that's a lack of connection. This is a game that understands what Star Wars looks like and how it sounds, how it moves, but it rarely feels like anyone behind it was truly invested in the experience they were building. And that absence shows up everywhere. Moments that should carry weight feel flat. Choices don't linger. Even the world, as detailed as it is, can start to feel more like a backdrop than a place. I did find bits of fun, especially at this price point. For around $20, there's enough here to enjoy in short bursts. But overall, it left me more disappointed than impressed, because this feels like a game that had all the right pieces, but never found its soul. So, where does that leave Star Wars Outlaws? It earns 3 out of 5 stars for me. 1 star for visual design because the environments are consistently strong with moments of real beauty, and let's not forget Nyx. 1 star for audio and atmosphere because the sound design does a lot of heavy lifting, pulling you into the experience even when other elements fall short. And 1 star for world building, not because it breaks new ground, but because it faithfully recreates a universe that already has a powerful identity. When it comes to storytelling and personal enjoyment, that's where the experience starts to falter. The ideas are there, but they're handled too safely to leave a lasting impact. So while there's something here to appreciate, it never quite becomes something to remember. If you enjoy thoughtful looks at the art and design of video games, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join me next time as we explore another world through the lens of art.